If you are a beginner motorcycle rider, you should not be using the technology that comes with your bike. If you want to use ABS or traction control, I totally get that, and you should, because it can help keep you safe. However, I truly believe that if you are a new motorcycle rider, you should not be using your quick shifter or auto blipper for at least the first 2 to 3 months of riding your new motorcycle. Learning to shift on your motorcycle the old-fashioned way by letting off the throttle, pulling in the clutch, and shifting into the next gear is inherently a skill that is invaluable to have. It's the same thing with downshifting. Learning how to let off of your throttle, pull in the clutch, downshift, rev match your engine, and let out the clutch. Beautiful downshifting, guys. As a new rider, using the shifting technology that comes on your bike from the factory and not teaching yourself these incredibly valuable mechanical skills that can be applied to every motorcycle you'll ever ride is inherently doing yourself a disservice as a motorcycle rider. Just think about it for a couple of seconds. Imagine you've never rode one of these in your life and you become complacent to this new technology that came with your bike from the factory. If you get in the habit of using the quick shifter to shift up and the auto blipper to shift down, that is going to be a very difficult habit for you to break as a new motorcycle rider. And downshifting a motorcycle for the first time can be really scary. And I don't blame you. If you mess it up, you really could damage your transmission. Because think this for a second. Imagine that there is a brand new motorcycle rider who's been riding for, let's say, 5 or 6 months, who has only formed the habit of using the quick shifter up and the auto blipper down on his brand new motorcycle. And all of a sudden, one of his buddies has an older bike just like this one, and he decides to let him ride it. Now, while this bike does have an aftermarket quick shifter installed on it, it does not have auto blip downshift. And a lot of older bikes like this don't even have the quick shifter for upshifting. That rider could potentially be putting himself in a dangerous situation because he's breaking a habit that he's formed and is very used to. Because let's also imagine that that new rider has formed the same habit as many other riders of downshifting and engine braking when coming up to a stop. However, I'm imagining worst case scenario where that rider is going at a much higher speed than is above their abilities, and they're trying to come up to a stop in the only way that they know how, by very quickly auto blipping down into the lower gears to engine brake. So basically what I'm trying to say is that in best case scenario, that new rider is going to damage the transmission on an older bike because they've fallen complacent to these bad habits that they've formed. And in worst case, that rider could be pushing their limits and find themselves in a very unsafe situation because they're trying to downshift the motorcycle. It's not responding in the way that they're used to, and that causes that rider a lot of panic. The point being that in this hypothetical, that new rider would have also not had enough time to develop the safe riding habits that you do in emergency situations. My final point is that if you are a brand new rider and you're still learning how to ride, I'm talking anybody who has got under 6 months of experience, I am asking you, please do yourself a favor by learning how to use that motorcycle, learn how to shift by hand, develop those mechanical skills, and then you can allow yourself the luxury of using the technology that you paid for.